Hi, I'm Carrie, also known as WAC Veteran. WAC stands for Women's Army Corps. I've been in Innerworld for about a year now, and it's been great meeting up with people that understand what I'm talking about. Oh, would I recommend? Yes, I would definitely recommend it. We need to be amongst ourselves because we understand one another. And it doesn't matter how old or how long ago it was. We are brothers and sisters.
My name is Drac. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran. I've been in Innerworld for just over 6 months now. Innerworld has had a big impact on my life. It's really helped me discover what mindfulness is really about. It's really helped me find some peace and some spirituality in my life, which I've really appreciated. It's also helped me decide that I want to go into the field of social work through the VRE program. So I would definitely recommend Innerworld to other vets. It really helps foster a sense of community. There's veteran groups here and pretty much every other group you could imagine. So I recommend giving it a try to all the veterans that I speak to.
Hi, my name is Dr. Jables. I am a disabled veteran of the United States Air Force. I have been in Innerworld about 1 year. Innerworld has had a significant impact on my life in various ways. Specifically, this group, the veterans group, it's just nice to be with other veterans that understand where you're coming from and understand your specific disorders or physical illnesses that you have. And it's just so nice to have that compassion. And it's like very nice to have it be anonymous and you don't have to tell people your name, and you meet people from all over the world and everybody's really nice here. And I would recommend this to vets 100% because we tend to isolate ourselves, and we need that social connection because we thrive on that in the military, our connection. So why not thrive on that out of the military too, using Innerworld?
Hi, my name's Taboo. I'm a disabled veteran from the British Armed Forces, the Army. And Innerworld has been invaluable to me, basically because the camaraderie that you get is pretty similar to the forces. The people in here are fantastic, and I'd be lost without it. It's simply one of the most invaluable places that I've picked up since I left the forces. People are fantastic.
Hey guys, welcome back to the group, our usual meetup of veterans in our support group. So this time, just so you know, we usually have it confidential, but we all understand that this time it's going to be recorded. Dr. Jabos, you had something interesting that you wanted to talk about support, right?
Yeah, so I was going to say that one of the critical issues that veterans face at any time in history is the transition from active duty or reservist status or guard status to civilian status. And I think back to my transition and how if I had Innerworld after I left the Air Force, it would have helped so much with that loneliness and that almost longing for the military community.
That's an interesting perspective. That's a good topic to talk about. What do you think, Drake?
I definitely think that having peer support, I've learned through therapy that is a very important part of the transition process, going to, from active duty to being a civilian again. Innerworld definitely does fill that role as well. I really wish I had it whenever I was getting out of the Navy. So I definitely agree with Dr. Jables there.
Yeah, and we're all peers here. No one here is qualified. I mean, we're just peers sharing experiences and veterans essentially. Our qualification is our lived experience. So what I have to say about the support is agreement with all of you guys. I agree, because if we knew about support from each other and also the resources available that many veterans don't know about, that we can help each other in that regard as well.
And it's so easily accessible. Like, I can pull out my phone and go to an Innerworld meeting. And that is everything, because sometimes when you're depressed, you don't want to get up. You don't want to get out of your house. So.
Exactly. Yeah. Drake?
I also did attempt to use other peer support networks that were established, like the local VFW, and I just honestly never felt like I belonged there. That was my experience. I'm not saying that would be everyone's, but I've definitely connected a lot more with the veterans group in Innerworlds and with the other groups. So I find this very valuable.
And also, what do you think about the fact that you're anonymous, and does that give you more courage?
It does, I think. And I also found that it seems to matter less. Like, when you walk into a room and there's a bunch of, in my experience when I went, it was a bunch of older men. I didn't really have anything in common with them. Like, I just felt like that from the very beginning. And even our times of service were different eras. So their conversations and stuff, like, I just didn't feel like I could join in. So being here where everybody is anonymous and I can't really tell what people look like, that did make me feel more comfortable and willing to speak.
Yeah, great. What about you, Dr. Jables?
I agree with that 100%. Like, when you usually go to veterans groups, it's usually all male, but I find that there is a good balance of male and female energy. And the good thing about Innerworld too is you can present how you want to. Like, you can present as your preferred gender. You can change your appearance. Like, you can wear a crown. You can be a butterfly. So it's like it gives you an element of creativity in expressing who you are too.
And also, I want to point out that a lot of veterans are living in rural areas far away from the VA. So to go from a VFW or DAV or anything, and to reach out to other veterans is kind of hard. But this is easier, because this is just wake up in the morning, grab your coffee, and get on the computer, and you're in a support group with veterans. So I think that is very valuable. That's one of the value of Innerworld. What do you guys think?
I agree, because when I got out, I was in a town called Glenwood, California, and it was like 2 hours from the nearest VA. So I couldn't really access those support groups or mental health care for the VA. So yeah, if I had this in that rural setting, I feel like I would have thrived a lot more.
Would you have something to input on that, Drake?
I actually still live in a military town, which is why there's like VFWs and stuff around me. But even though I am in a military town still, it didn't really help me feel connected. So I'm still grateful to Innerworlds for being there whenever the real world solutions didn't necessarily help me.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so as a guide in Innerworld, I've been leading meetings for many months, and there are all kinds of meetings. Of course, this one is geared for the military, but there are lots of meetings on anxiety and depression and various workshops to learn about life skills, that sort of thing. And I wanted to ask the three of you how you feel these other meetings might help someone who needs support and maybe is a veteran. What other meetings have been particularly helpful for you?
Yeah, I'd like to answer that, and also, well, I would like to answer that, Eve. The VA does have programs in place like PRRC, mental. I don't know if you guys have heard of those programs, but they essentially teach these lessons like, for example, positivity and healthy boundaries. But it's very short lived. It's temporary programs. It's only for a few months, and they were the most valuable programs that the VA had over there. Were these PRRC programs like these, where you get to meet other veterans and talk about stuff like that deals with your anxiety or depression. This is different because here we're getting this 24/7, and that is so valuable because we can actually talk to other veterans, and not just veterans but others as well, about our anxiety, our depression, our all the stuff that we're going through, and it's a time period. It's not just a few months, and it's not temporary. So that is why it's so valuable here. What do you guys think? Dr. Jables?
The instant access is amazing because if you are feeling like a certain way and you look up the schedule and there's a meeting going on soon, it kind of relieves your anxiety. And or you can look up a meeting that's going to come up that is relevant to your current distress. So one of the meetings that I really like is the talking to your inner child meeting. It's kind of like a parts work meeting in therapy speak, but it's basically cultivating that inner child and laughing and finding like little ways to spark joy. And another one I really like is definitely the anxiety groups. I actually met somebody who was agoraphobic, which means that they couldn't leave their house. And Innerworld just made so much of a difference for them because they literally couldn't leave their house. So this was their social support.
That's really good to know that, you can be with people, like-minded people who have had similar experiences, like this group for the veterans, but it also opens up a broader array of choices of meetings that you can go to that feed you in other ways, it sounds like, and have relevance in other ways. And I think having the ability to choose these different types of meetings, including recreational meetings, fun meetings that are community building and that are just there to allow you to hang out, get to know other people, feel really connected and part of a community. And so it's really good to know that it works, that the app works to bring like-minded people together, but also to mix it up a bit so that you are able to learn from each other, have different experiences, and really the ability to grow in the process.
And talking about growing, you, like Dr. Jables, you've been here for 12 months, and for Drac, you've been here for 7. Do you guys feel like you've grown over the course of this time, or is there anything in your life that you feel like it did make a difference to you?
For me, it has been instrumental in the way I interact with others. That's where the change I've seen has been. I feel more confident. I have learned more life skills because of everybody else's contributions to the conversations. So I really think that 1, I'm less lonely, 2, less anxious and depressed, 3, less isolated, and 4, just learning coping skills to just deal with everyday life.
And Drake, do you want to say something about that?
Yeah, I definitely think that I think that my biggest issue, because I was doing a lot of therapy through the VA, but I wasn't necessarily connecting with peers. So I was feeling isolated and lonely. That was the biggest thing. And that was upping my anxiety. That was upping my depression. It was making my sleep problems worse. And just being able to come to an app that was just on my Oculus, I never even expected for something like that to even exist. I was able to learn mindfulness techniques. I was able to learn how to meditate properly. I was able to, just be able to pop in and say hey to people. And no matter what time of day, there's always a guide around if there's nobody else, and they're always willing to ask how your day is going. Like that. That's honestly really, really like a beautiful thing to have. And I really appreciate it.
Definitely. Well, anything else, Eve?
No, I think that's great. And just so
Hello, everyone. My name is Immersive. I am a disabled veteran of the United States Army. I served back in after 9/11, and I served in Kosovo, was deployed there. I created this group because I felt that veterans had very unique needs, very unique experience that made us a brotherhood and sisterhood. My experience in the military, it was a lot of fun, and it was very challenging, and I totally enjoyed it. However, when I left the military, I felt lost, and the VA took me in. The VA took me in, and they brought me back to my feet. Now, I would not have been where I am without the VA, because it gave me a lot of tools like positivity or healthy boundaries. But when I discovered Innerworld, it was like the VA on steroids, because these tools were being talked about here as among our peers. Tools like healthy boundaries or positivity, and it's happening at 24/7, and it's happening with anonymity. No one knows who we are; they can't see us. It happens with anonymity, and it's very valuable to me as a veteran, and I knew it was valuable for other veterans. So I created this group called the Veteran Support Group here in Innerworld, and I'm so glad because I'm here, and I'm glad to share this group with everybody. And everybody I see, I tell them about Innerworld. So that's my story.